Today I'm going to talk to you about why your business is worthless, worth nothing, and exactly how you can fix it. Now, this is a realization I came to when I first started my online coaching business. And the reality you have to understand is when you're starting a business, you are essentially creating yourself a job. And what do I mean by job? You are doing everything within the business yourself, so therefore it has no value. So at this moment right now, if your business cannot run without you to some degree, it has no material value. So the first thing you have to do to actually build real value in your business to get you what you want is start to scale it to you can remove yourself from some of the processes. So one of the biggest mistakes I've seen in particular online trainers make is, I'm making 20K a month, I don't want to scale anymore. Well, guess what? When you're 40 or 35, I'm currently 35, you are going to want to earn more money because you're going to have family, you're going to have kids. What if one of your parents got sick and you couldn't afford the medical bill? But you knew deep down that if you'd scaled your business, you'd be able to afford any medical treatment. I remember a great story one of my best friends, Frank Demblanca, talked about how his dad hit his head in a hospital in Portugal and was basically in a coma, and he was going to die in the hospital, and he got airlifted back to the Netherlands. Now, what Frank actually did, because he had the means to do so, because he grinded and scaled his business, he spent 170,000 euros on a private medical plane to fly his father to the Netherlands. If he did not do that, his dad would not be alive today. And that is a reality of something that could happen to you, but you might not have the means to be able to save your father or save your mother or even save your kids down the line, which is why it's your duty to scale your business and take some advice I'm going to talk to you about very seriously. Now, the main reason people's businesses don't scale is when they start to hire team members, they don't delegate well, they don't train well, they don't hire well. Now, at the beginning, you're going to have a certain grade of employee, I would say. And as the business grows, you will outgrow those people and you're going to start to cycle through them, which is okay. If you have a business that makes $50,000 a month and then you suddenly have a business that makes $200,000 a month, the team you're going to need to run that is going to be completely different. And that's okay for you to realize essentially what you want to be doing is constantly upgrading the players on your team and almost like swapping them in. I used to love playing Football Manager and Championship Manager as a kid. I'm a closet nerd. And this is almost like the transfer window where you want to be transferring players in and out of your business. And you constantly want to be looking for new and better talent because business is a team sport. And ultimately, if you have an all-star cast of team members, you're like the NBA all-stars versus, say, for example, like Michael Jordan for average players, the all-stars are going to win, right? Because you cannot do it all on your own. And when you do try and do it all on your own is when your business will struggle and you will also hate it and you're going to build yourself a prison. So the most important things you need to do as you scale and the people you need to hire, first thing you need to hire is you need to hire a call setter. So you should not be setting your own calls. You should have someone who's doing a lot of the messaging. Now, a lot of people make a huge amount of mistakes with this because they hire the cheapest person they find, Philippines, Pakistan, the arse end of Timbuktu. Now, the reality is you pay peanuts, you get monkeys.
Quick interjection into the podcast. If you're an online coach who's looking to scale the business, get their first 5K a month, 10K a month, or even get to 50 to 100K a month, we have helped hundreds of trainers do this at this point, and I've personally generated over $14 million online in the fitness industry. We have a proven methodology that works, provided you're willing to do the work. Now, if you want to book in a free business audit, we'll break down exactly where you are now, where you want to go, and what's currently holding you back. Hit the link below this video and below the podcast to find out exactly how we can help you. Pick a time and we will walk you through the process of where your business is at and what exponential growth looks like. Now, back to the podcast.
If there was two places you should look to pay aggressively in your business, one is going to be call setting, two is going to be sales closers, because this is the lifeblood of your business. So if you're not booking the calls you want right now, one of the things I would do is review that straight away. What's the quality of your team members like? And deep down, are you just being lazy that you can't be bothered to go and find someone else and train someone else and you're settling? And you settling right now is the thing of why your business is stuck. The second thing you need to have an executive assistant or an administration assistant because you should be doing your own admin. You should be doing your own paperwork. Your job as an entrepreneur is to focus on the marketing, the front end, the sales. And if you enjoy coaching, doing some of the coaching points of that. If you are trying to do everything and you're doing the $5 an hour task instead of the $200 an hour tasks, you are literally wasting your life and you're wasting your time. The reason some people can achieve great success more so than others is not because they have more time, they utilize their time more effectively, which is the most important thing you need to focus on doing. It's being maximally efficient because You do not get paid on how many hours you get work. You get paid on the output of what you achieve. Business is a results-based environment, and so is basic economics. The greater the value of the problem solved, the more money you will make. So your job constantly is to try and upgrade your hourly rate of what you're focusing on doing. And if you're not currently doing that right now, you're going to struggle. The third thing that can be controversial for some coaches, unless you love fitness coaching, is you want to scale yourself out fulfillment. Why? That's a repeated task that's actually generally pretty easy to coach someone to do, unless maybe you work in a very specialist field like high-end athletics, high-level blood work, or medicine. The reality is, if you work with Gen Pop clients, it's pretty easy for you to then bring in coaches to work underneath you who will do probably a better job than you will because they can fully focus on their clients. When I talk back about my fitness journey, when I first started my fitness coaching business, at one point I had 210 coaching clients, which is insane. And was the quality of service amazing? Probably not, because I was doing all the marketing, all the sales, pretty much everything myself. And that was what was really bottlenecking me at the time. But I was too arrogant to want to go and hire someone else because I thought everyone wants to be coached by me. Someone won't be coached by someone else. And this is a huge mistake. And you learn from these mistakes. And I'm imploring you right now, if you are in that position, you've got too many clients, this is why you're stuck and probably making the same revenue you have done for the last 6 to 12 months. So you need to fix that. The fourth thing you need to do is understand something very, very basic. That visibility beats ability. You have to be able to get eyeballs and get traffic, which is why content is the most important thing. One of the first people I actually hired was actually my good friend Mike, who's behind the camera now. And we first started making content maybe in like 2018, 2019, using like proper professional cameras when everyone was using a wanky iPhone 6 or whatever it was back then. And the reality is that's probably one of the big things that really separated me early on because no one was taking it to that level, whereas now that's the norm. So if your content looks average and looks cheap quality, what does your brand look like? Cheap quality, right? So you have to understand that as you're looking to scale, how you do one thing is how you do everything, and you have to set higher standards. Now, once you have the base infrastructure in place, you want what's called the golden flow. The golden flow isn't you going for a piss. It's essentially how do you get a client lead to come in and become a coaching client without you having to be involved in the process. So for example, content gets posted, you don't post it. Someone inbound messages or you outbound message them, the setter gets them booked in for a call. You don't do that. Someone else takes the sales call, closes the client. You don't do that. That then gets passed to the coach, who then gets client great result. You don't do that. All you do is get paid on the back end. And this is when you have a business that has some value because it's starting to actually operate and run without you independently. The goal is that if you went away and you turned your phone off and threw it into the ocean in the Maldives or somewhere and no one could contact you for a week, nothing changes. And if I tell you that probably took me 5 years into my business until I did that, the first time I went to the Maldives, I turned my phone off for 3 days. And I've never felt so. The first few hours, I probably was like almost like clocking and probably like strutting around the island looking for things to do. But the next day I'd never felt so clear-headed. And I remember sitting specifically in Malé Airport, which is the airport in the Maldives, opening my laptop being like, oh, here we go, there's going to be a shitstorm. Opened my laptop and I was like, nothing. Everything's just continued. We kept selling programs, we kept booking sales calls, fitness clients kept signing up. The merry-go-round goes without me. And this is why as an entrepreneur a lot of the time, we have this ego-fed desire to think that we have to fix all the problems ourselves. The reality is if you put the right person in the right seat with the right instructions and the right incentive, they will actually fix the problem and they know what to do. And sometimes you not being there actually helps because they'll think, what would Charlie do? Oh, he would do this, I'll just do that. And they'll actually make the decision themselves. So sometimes one of the best things you can do to level up your team is actually to say like, I'm actually like incognito out of the zone for the next 4 days. You guys figure out. Unless someone's died, like don't call me. I don't want to know. Like sort it out, you can deal with it. And I think this is a huge learning curve as an entrepreneur to realize if your business can run without you, but also if your team are good enough to handle that. Because the right team members will want to prove a point to you that they can do that. And you want to have people who are growth minded within your organization. Now, the next thing I want to go into is in terms of leverage. Now, leverage is essentially where we can do one task that's going to have a huge amount of output that's going to come over for a long period of time. This podcast, for example, will go to YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, everywhere. We'll chop it into reels. I make this once in 15, 20 minutes, however long this is. This is a high leverage activity for me that will continue to get downloads and views once I'm still dead. That's pretty high output, right? You make it once, it continuously gets more views. Same in terms of with your business. So some of the different types of leverage you can have, there's 4 different mediums of leverage. So you have financial leverage in terms of money you can invest to basically make money. Second, you have code. Third, you have people in terms of team members, so you can do stuff for you, you can hire to replace yourself. And then fourthly, you have media, which is essentially podcasts, social media, even newspapers, all that type of stuff. Each of these are different forms of leverage that can help you grow and could basically multiply what you're doing. And essentially what you want to be doing with your business is try and use all 4 of those. So invest the money you have to get more skills, invest the money you have to get better people and train them better, invest the money you have to get better code and software, invest the money you have to then get better media, content, traffic, and eyeballs. And this is essentially the game in terms of how you get more leverage and you can get the multiplier effect going, the flywheel effect in terms of your business. Now, where most people go wrong with this is they extract too much money from the business and they're afraid of one thing, investing back into the business. In particular, if you're British, we seem to have this mentality where you're like Scrooge McDuck. You want to hold on to all the money. You don't want to spend anything. Think about it like this. 2 things solve problems in life. 1 is money, 2 is people. If you have a problem and you find the right person and you pay them money, you will solve the problem. Pretty much guaranteed, right? If you go to the chiropractor and your back's stuck and like locked out, if you pay him, he'll fix it. It's very much the same for pretty much all business problems. And that's the reality in terms of you don't know what you don't know. And also maybe you don't have the connection to fix the problem you do, but maybe someone else does, which is actually one of the things that we talk about people. One of the highest forms of leverage you can have is a powerful network. And the more success you have, the more influence you have, the bigger your network comes, then the more luck seems to land in your lap. Now, if you're looking to try and take your business to the next level, the most important thing you need to think about is just constantly investing in these right skills, focusing on these core points, and then your business won't be worthless and will actually get to the point where it starts to run itself and it removes the golden handcuffs. If you took value from this, smash the like button, leave us a 5-star review on this podcast. We can do a lot more of these raw episodes intermittently throughout and share this with a friend who needs to take some value.